So if you haven't read Esther Vilar's The Manipulated Man, I highly recommend. I'll put a link to a PDF you can get online for free. This was written by Esther Vilar. Let's see, what was the year? It was a very long time ago. 1972, actually. Wow. First printing was 1972. So not quite far back as I thought. I thought this was back in the 40s. But anyway, if you haven't read this and you're a MGTOW or a men's rights activist or just just enjoy a little counterbalance to all the feminist propaganda bullshit that you read in college or were forced to read, you might want to just look at this book. It's 100 pages, and I just have to warn you a little bit. It's a little bit down on women. Esther Vilar is not holding any punches, by the way. So I'll read you the first chapter. It's short. It's called The Slave's Happiness. The lemon-colored MG skids across the road, and the woman driver brings it to a somewhat uncertain halt. She gets out and finds her left front tire flat. Without wasting a moment, she prepares to fix it. She looks toward the passing cars, as if expecting someone. Recognizing the standard international sign of a woman in distress, weak female let down by male technology, a station wagon draws up. The driver sees what is wrong at a glance and says comfortingly, "Don't worry, we'll fix that in a jiffy." To prove his determination, he asks her for the jack. He does not ask if she is capable of changing the tire herself because he knows she's about 30, smartly dressed and made up, that she is not. Since she cannot find her jack, he fetches his own together with his other tools. 5 minutes later, the job is done, and the punctured tire properly stowed. His hands are covered with grease. She offers him an embroidered handkerchief, which he politely refuses. He has a rag for such occasions in his toolbox. Be prepared, guys, right? The woman thanks him profusely, apologizing for her typically feminine helplessness. She might have been there till dusk, she says, had he not stopped. He makes no reply, and as she gets back into the car, gallantly shuts the door for her. Through the wound-down window, he advises her to have her tire patched at once, and she promises to get her garage man to see to it that very evening. Then she drives off. Obviously, he was mansplaining to her, right? You better get that tire fixed. Oh, my God. As the man collects his tools and goes back to his own car, he wishes he could wash his hands. His shoes, he's been standing in the mud while changing the tire, are not as clean as they should be. He's a salesman. What is more, he will have to hurry to keep his next appointment. As he starts the engine, he thinks, women, one's more stupid than the next. He wonders what she would have done if he had not been there to help. He puts his foot on the accelerator and drives off faster than usual. There is the delay to make up. After a while, he starts to hum to himself. In a way, he's happy. Almost any man would have behaved in the same manner. Would have is the operative term here, folks, in my opinion. And so would most women, without thinking, simply because men are men and women so different from them. A woman will make use of a man whenever there is an opportunity. What else could the woman have done when her car broke down? She has been taught to get a man to help. Thanks to his knowledge, he was able to change the tire quickly, and at no cost to herself. True, he ruined his clothes, put his business in jeopardy, and endangered his own life while driving too fast afterward. Had he found something else wrong with her car, however, he would have repaired that too. That is what his knowledge of cars is for. Why should a woman learn to change a flat when the opposite sex, half the world's population, is able and willing to do it for her? Women let men work for them, think for them, and take on their responsibilities. In fact, they exploit them. Yet, since men are strong, intelligent, and imaginative, while women are weak, unimaginative, and stupid, why isn't it men who exploit women? Could it be that strength, intelligence, and imagination are not prerequisites for power, but merely qualifications for slavery? Could it be that the world is not being ruled by experts, but by beings who are not fit for anything else by women. And if this is so, how do women manage it so that their victims do not feel themselves cheated and humiliated, but rather believe themselves to be what they are least of all, masters of the universe? How do women manage to instill in men this sense of pride and superiority that inspires them to ever greater achievements? Why are women never unmasked? So this was written in the early 1970s, and I think Esther Vilar had a follow-up 25 years after that. But you can see the point that Esther Vilar is making here. Women are very good at convincing men that men are the masters and they're the slaves or the oppressed or whatever, when in fact it is actually the opposite. Men are the slaves and the oppressed, and women are actually the masters of the universe. This is like MGTOW 101 stuff, right? This is red pill. So I'll put a link in the low bar. I haven't said that yet. Karen Strawn loves that low bar talk. So Karen, this one's for you. I'm putting in a low bar. This is called The Manipulated Man by Esther Vilar. I highly advise you to spend an hour reading this 100-page book. And it's quite interesting to see that some people, even prior to all of the insanity as of late, saw clearly what was going on. And it turns out that Esther Vilar is a woman. James Maxwell, thanks for listening.